Hi there, everybody. It's your best friend, Rochelle. Rochelle Shaw, author of The Million Dollar Equation. And I'm here today to talk to you about this secret thing that nobody's really talking about, right? And it is that AI has taken over the world. We're excited about all the new tools and all the things that technology has done and can do for you. But here's the thing. I want you to remember that these are just tools, tools that help amplify and build on your fundamentals. Okay. Tools that help build and amplify on your fundamentals. And so here's what I keep running into is I keep running into business owners who are, they feel like they've missed the boat. They feel like, oh, everybody's making so much money with AI and how come I'm not? And I'm like, they're not. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about the second piece of the $1 million equation and how this training works. Is that last week we talked about the client who went from 50,000 to 700,000 a month back down to 50 and what that collapse was all about. But it wasn't about the market. It was about he didn't have his fundamentals in place from the $1 million equation, and he was only focusing on one thing. So today I'm going to show you really how it's not just about the tools, right? Or the foundation. It's about doing the audit on your hidden assets. You've got so many hidden assets right now in your business that let's go make money from those instead of trying to figure out AI or use the AI to discover it, because I do have my own GPT. I do have my own, $1 million equation way to look at things. I've set all of those up for you, but it's not here what I'm here to sell you. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to teach you how to leverage those things in your business. So let's get after it, right? Let's get to it. Let me hear. I'm going to share my screen. We'll go to my slides that are already there, and then we will talk about the hidden gold, the absolute hidden gold in your business and how to make it all work and work for you in a way that makes sense. So again, my name is Rochelle Shaw, and I'm here with a free training for the new and revised $1 million equation of how to find that hidden gold inside of your business with assets you already own, but just may not be able to see right now. So remember last week I talked to you about my client that went from 50,000 to 700,000 and it collapsed right back down to 50,000. It didn't collapse because the market changed. It collapsed because the owner all he ever counted was one asset. He was only looking for brand new customers. So he ran one play. Okay. He ran one play in the business and he only ran one system. And so, in the new $1 million equation, I talked to you about different revenue systems, and his only revenue system was get new customers. So, if you remember, the $1 million equation is C times F times V. Okay. C times F times V. So, customers times F, which is frequency, how many times are they coming back, times V. How can we expand that value every single time so that every customer that's there with us is generating more and more and more, right? He wasn't doing that. He was just stopping at C because that was way more fun. First of all, what happened is that the customers, his play that he was running, right, spend a ton of money on Facebook ads so that they would generate book calls. And during those book calls, they would convert into new customers. But he never did anything else with people that didn't convert. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go into why I teach you this. So I can teach you this because I've bought and sold 4 different businesses. I've valued companies on both sides on this is a great business to buy, or I'd stay away from that one. They don't have enough assets. Every time I go to look at them, I go, oh, they don't see that this is what the real value of this business is, because they were looking at it just like my client from last week, right? These are how many customers I have. This is how much it paid me this month, but they weren't looking at it all in totality. I've also created 28 plus partnerships that are $1 million deals. And my next book is called $1 Million Partnerships. It's already written. I just hadn't released it because I fell back in love with the $1 Million Equation. I wanted to share it with y'all. So when you've bought and sold businesses, you learn to see the gold, the owners walk past every flipping day. Right? They don't realize that this is the true gold that they have. So an asset just isn't cash in the bank, right? It's not just cash in the bank. So let's think about it like your house, right? Your house that you live in is its value keeps going up and up and up every year, hopefully, right? Depending on how long you've owned it, it goes up and up and up. And every time it's like, ooh, well, I'm a millionaire on paper. I talked to a guy yesterday who said that to me. Well, Rochelle, I'm really a millionaire on paper. And it's like, well, yeah, but when you need $10,000, which is what he needed, he didn't have a way to go get it, right? So I'm always saying that you having this type of opportunity, does it work? Yes, it works every single day. But in assets is any relationship you've already earned and aren't using, so that everyone is a person who raised their hand and you walked away from, right? That is truly an asset. And where are those assets in your business? That's something that you really want to take a look at. Okay. So with that house, maybe having that HELOC sitting there so that you can always, whenever you need it, go get it. Or your emergency fund always has that $10,000 there so that if something big were to happen, you can always go get it, right? It's having those things on the side. And sometimes people aren't looking at their business as a way to go leverage those really big opportunities. So let's tell you, right, where to go find those assets. Okay. The hidden gold in almost everybody's business is this: one, paid clients who only bought once from you and were never invited back to buy from you again and again. That's an asset that I love to leverage every single day, right? Unconverted leads who inquired, but they never got a follow-up, or you followed up with them for 1 or 2 weeks while you remembered them, and then you stopped following up with them. Okay. That should be a long-term nurture, because we don't know when a customer is ready to buy. Here's what statistics show us is that 92% of people who raise their hand and say they're interested are not ready to buy right now. They're thinking about it. They're processing it. So what do you do with that 7? That 7% is what my client was banking on. That 7%, which is now based on our current economy, is somewhere around 2 to 3%. He was banking on that 2 to 3% to sustain everything until it hits a wall. Now, right, that follow-up, which was the old chapter 4 of $1 Million Equation, right, is where we need to really get after people. All right, here's number 3: outstanding proposals. Quotes you sent over but never chased. Again, are they ready now, a year later? Are they ready now, 2 years later? If you're in real estate, is it time for them to upgrade? Is it not? Where are they, right? Your email list sitting untouched. I will ask people, do you have an email list? Oh yeah, but we stopped sending it because nobody was opening, nobody was clicking it. We weren't making money from it. It's like, how do you know? right? How do you really, really know? And if every time you emailed, it was with an offer, well, yeah, nobody wants to open an email that says, buy my shit. Nobody. They want to know what you do and they want information about it so that they can make an educated decision. That's why sometimes they don't work. So if I am an investor, that's what I'm looking at when I'm going into any business. What type of asset do you own that has everything of the customer, their date of birth? Love that. So I can send birthday cards. You know, if you follow the $1 million equation, you know that's one of my favorites. Do you have how long they've been with you, the last time they purchased from you? You know, having a CRM and not using it is makes me want to pull my hair out. Okay. Here are three that are really actually amplified by the new tools that we have in the world. The first one is website visitors who left without opting in. You know, there's a pixel that's there, right? You know, that message that comes up about cookies. Oh, hey, are you okay with these cookies? Do you want to control the cookies? All of those are tracking mechanisms that let us know if you have the rest of your ecosystem, your MDE ecosystem set up correctly. So the $1 million equation ecosystem, part of reactivation, part of follow-up is people who come to the website but didn't opt in, right? Then we send them a totally different message to follow up with them after that, using technology, using technology to now build not only lists that you can pick up, okay? Lists that are on paper, yes, the cards of people who've written their stuff down, but also invisible lists that are online that you can follow up with, that people go, oh my gosh, it seems like you follow me all over the internet. Yeah, you know, we can even, does your kid play Xbox? There's ads on Xbox now. There's ads everywhere. You can follow them when they normally want to be there to help with things and help convert into more assets. That's why when I look at a business, I look at them totally different than the regular person looking at it. Okay. The not yet people who are early in their journey, not really ready for the first time, right? I am looking to downsize again into a tiny home. So I'm fascinated by everything tiny homes. Am I ready to buy a tiny home yet? No. My college sophomore is still at my house. So I'm not ready to go to a tiny home. But how do you nurture that? How do you nurture that relationship? Again, building that invisible light, right? The invisible list so that you can follow up with them. And then social connections and relationships that you've never actually asked. You've never actually followed up with. You've never actually met them IRL in real life, right? You've only seen them from a distance. So I have a thing that I do, which is next week, we're really going to talk about implementing all of these things. But, you know, every year on LinkedIn, I go and reach out to tons of people on there. And I say, I want to meet you in real life if they're in my local area. Or if I'm traveling to the area, speaking at an event, I will get special tickets just for the people in the local area and I'll reach out to them. Hi, I'd love to meet you in real life. Because here's what I found. If they've met me in person, people instantly feel the warmth from me and we do some type of deal. And sometimes it's they just get another copy of my book, but they've either referred me to somebody else, they've bought something else from me, they've worked with me more, right? After they've met me in real life. These are people that if they've only met me online, it takes them about 18 months for them to buy from me. But if they've never met me or they've met me in real life, then it takes less than 30 days. Done, right? Those are just examples of hidden gold in every business that we left on the side of the road. So here it is, online or offline, it's that same buried gold. So I have a client that was a plumber. Yes. And so plumber asked me for help and said, what should we do? What should we do, Rochelle? And I said, well, about what? And he goes, well, things are flat. Um, Income is flat and we need to do something else. And I'm like, okay, how about we take those 8,000 customers and we get them to come back? They were only generating about $600,000 a year. And I'm like, with 8,000 customers, your lowest average ticket is $300. You should be at 2.4 million. And he's like, heck yeah, that's a great dream. I'm like, no, that's not a dream. That's really leveraging your list. Like, what are you doing? How come, have you followed up? What are your proposals given? What happened with them? Even if they went with somebody else, did they do the job correctly? Homeowners whose problem isn't there yet, neighbors of every job that you did. This is buried gold, buried treasure that they weren't actually taking advantage of. Same with the online business, right? With the 700,000, they had website visitors that they hadn't followed up with. They had an email list of 68,000. They had customers that have come through already that was 650. Like when you look at 68,000 and 650, it starts to tell you that math ain't mathing. Like something's wrong with that. People who downloaded some of the freebies that they did but never bought. Like who's following up with them? Who's having conversations with them? How are you moving the journey forward? So parts of the new $1 million equation are all about moving the journey forward so that it comes to, just like with any great song, an amazing crescendo, so that it builds and builds and builds and comes to that crescendo so that everybody is happy at the same time. We're servicing more clients. They're happy we can solve their problem. And now we're at that 2.4 million instead of 600,000 looking for new customers. That's what he asked me. He asked me, how can we go and find new customers? I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? I had another client who was an eye doctor in Arizona. He had 30,000 patients and he wanted me to come in and help him get brand new. I was like, absolutely not. We ran a simple campaign for him, reactivated some old ones, and he had his highest sales day in the history of the 30-year history of them owning the business. It's like, dude, you don't need new. But he had this fun little procedure that he wanted to try on different people, and he wanted me to go find them. It's like, yeah, no, that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Let's just go make a ton of money the easiest way possible. So this isn't only a business problem, right? Remember, small business problem. Remember last week I talked to you about the business that collapsed. It's the same disease. Chase brand new customer while its own list of past buyers sat untouched. Big or small, the buried gold gets ignored the same way. The plumber just makes it impossible to miss because it's like, look, here are these 8,000 customers, and where he truly should have been was at 2.4 million. And guess what? Yeah, at 600,000, with the infrastructure of all of the employees, the trucks, right? Because every technician has a truck, the software to run it, all of the cell phones, all of the data, all of those things, the creep, the inflation creep, the gas prices, it made him feel like he had an albatross around his neck instead of that freedom that this business is supposed to have for you. That's why I kept saying, dude, are you serious? Like, you've got an amazing, amazing business. Let's go get them. Let's get after it. So, all right, pause and screenshot this screen so that you will be prepped for next week, right? Count your hidden gold. Count your hidden gold. How many past paying customers do you have? How many unconverted leads or old proposals that are sitting out there? How many are on your email list? How many of your invisible list? If you don't know how to do that, next week, I'll show you where to look for that and we'll find that invisible list for you. How many not yet people and social connections do you have? How many are following you on social media? How many do you even know that there are secret like DMs that you can find that, yeah, it keeps out the creepers. Lord have mercy. I know how that works, but there's also people that I've found that they tried to DM me, but because that's not my preferred point of communication style, they got lost in the cracks. And so I didn't even see some of that because we weren't either friends yet or didn't have enough in common. And so the social media, Facebook blocked them from being able to DM me. So there's all of these people that are out there. There's all of this gold waiting for you to show up that we can leverage into really fun reactivation campaigns that we're going to do next week. That's part of the $1 million equation, right? But all of this we got to do this piece because this doesn't show up on your balance sheet. This doesn't show up on your balance sheet, but it makes your accountant go, what the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? All right, so this isn't spendable cash yet, but leveraged correctly, these hidden assets become the closest thing to a never-ending ATM machine that your business will ever have. Next week, we're going to do reactivation, old school system with new tools for retargeting, journey tracking, and AI just turned into a money machine, right? We put them both together because that's who I am actually for y'all, is that I'm your bridge, right? I'm not asking you like put a line in the sand and pick one side, right? I'm going to stick with old school. I'm going to stick with new school. It's like, no, let's use new school tools to amplify old school. And the $1 million equation is your bridge. $1 million equation is your bridge so that you have this lens of why am I doing it? Not because it's cool and it's fun just to hang out and play with all night, just to see how smart it can be. Right? That's not it. You leverage all of those tools into paying for itself. Right? I listen to people go, oh, I don't email because you know how much it costs. Had this client, hear me out. This is like the craziest ever. She was frustrated because her email provider kept charging more and more money. So she started deleting email addresses. Oh, I said, why would you ever do that? Oh, well, because they weren't. And I'm like, they weren't because you weren't. They weren't because you weren't. And she was like, Michelle, why would you say? I said, because every time you show up to get paid. You show up to ask them for something. Why don't you start giving them something? And that's what I'd love to give you guys today is find your goal. I've got a free scorecard. You can grab it in 10 minutes. It shows you, all your buried assets. The link is below this video. So go get that. It's in the caption. I think it's in the first comment too. But go get that, right? Start with giving, and then people will open your email. But she was deleting it because it cost too much. And I'm like, what? She went from the $149 tier a month to the $300 tier. And she said, ooh, that's too much. Online mentality, right? Offline, my billing system was $250,000 in my telephone company. One of my most important people in my life owns an HVAC company. Just the tools are $3,000. It's like, what are you talking about, right? But if you don't know how to look at your assets, you don't realize that they are your ATM waiting to come out. All right, so that's it for this week. If you've got any questions, if you want to know how to put these assets to work for you, then definitely come back next week. If you've got any questions, anything I can help you with, I would love to help you. If you want me to evaluate your business for sale, if you want me to buy it, let me know that too. Or put together joint ventures. That's what I've been doing over the last 4 months, and having just the time of my life. So I'd love to do that for you. Whatever you need, just let me know. All right, y'all. Just remember, you are not behind. You're just sitting on gold that you forgot that you owned. Let's have a great time. Have an amazing day. And if you need anything else, anything, please just let me know. Where is this one? Here we go. See you. Bye.